Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight podcast, where we talk with business leaders from all over the world who share their insights and expertise so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We're excited to have you here. I am the co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions, where we help businesses strategically grow their business and scale their revenue through outside the box visibility marketing strategies. Make sure if you're new, you stick around to the end because we're going to have an exciting gift for you. So without further ado, though, I really like to introduce my guest. She is amazing. We've been chatting a little bit behind the scenes and definitely coming from different parts of the world, as I just shared with you. So welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, Jennifer Mcknight, who's with Cobb International. I'm so excited to talk with you, Jennifer.
Heidi, thank you so much, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm really passionate about sharing tips and strategies and the raw truth about what it takes to really build a business. So I'm excited for today. I think it's going to be very valuable.
I'm excited too. And I love raw truth because a lot of times you can see the wins on social media or the wins that people are achieving without hearing about the hardships and the challenges that they face getting there. So I'm definitely excited to talk with you and dig deeper into that. But before we do that, Jennifer, can you share a little bit about you and the company and your role within it?
Okay, so I come actually from a luxury high-end brand background. So my history spans from high-end skincare, cosmetic, and fragrance brands. So for many years, I worked with Chanel, Bulgari, La Prairie, really high-end brands. I've had multiple businesses of my own, some which failed terribly and some which did really well. So I've definitely tried all different models when it comes to business types, from digital to product to service-based businesses. And then I got to a point in my life where I really wanted to build a business that had much more meaning and purpose in it. And I came across Cobb International at the time, and it wasn't something that I had ever heard about. I didn't know about the brand. And it was completely different to industry that I'd ever worked in before. And I didn't have any experience in this industry particularly. But I did a bit of research online and I came across one image in particular, which was a young woman who was sitting on a grass hill and she had a Cobb portable cooker, which is the main product line, in front of her. And she just had this look on her face of absolute joy and freedom. And it was a really distinct moment that I'll never forget, because at that point, I thought, that's it. That is a brand that is not just a product, it's a movement. It's about adventure, freedom, unplugging, and being outdoors. And so at that point, I got involved with Cobb International, which is, like you say, on the other end of the world. So we are based in South Africa, but we have distribution all over the world. It's insane. So we're in more than 53 countries, and I just fell in love with the business. I mean, it's been an exciting journey ever since.
That's amazing. Can you share some of the products that you have inside of Cobb?
Sure. So Cobb originally was founded by two brothers in South Africa. And I love saying this because it's so true, is that really great businesses don't always start in boardrooms. They start where there's real needs in the world. And so these two brothers had found a need in rural areas where there's a lot of fire risks when you're cooking, obviously, because of the terrain and all of that. And they created a Cobb, and it's called Cobb, which is a little portable cooker, because they used actual corn cobs as the fuel. So that's how it coined its unique name. But what happened was there was a guy by the name of Heidi, who was a very big, or is very big, successful businessman in the cosmetic world. He had sold his business, he had retired, and he came across the product. And he just thought this was absolutely incredible, and he developed it into a portable outdoor cooking range. So what Cobb is, and what the main line is a very compact, versatile, premium outdoor cooker that literally allows you to cook anything, whether you're on a boat, a campsite, whether you're fishing, hiking. I mean, we've had people on a hot air balloon cooking on one. You can cook anything, anywhere. So it's fantastic. And that is who we are. We want people to go outdoors and enjoy the freedom of being outdoors with ease. That's what we're all about.
And I love how you shared that it started with a problem that they saw and they
Yeah.
created a solution to that problem, which is how many businesses start and become successful. Because if you can find a problem that you can solve and you know it's a big problem, then
Yeah.
you're going to be able to obviously create customers and more likely a successful business because it's a needed solution. Can you share the vision
100%.
of Cobb International for the future?
So Cobb really has quite a big vision, and we don't want to be just a product or a business or a brand. Cobb is about a worldwide movement. You know, the world, I'm sure you know, has had its serious ups and downs over the past few years, especially since COVID. And as a brand, we really want to encourage more people to enjoy adventure and enjoy the outdoors and unplug from the chaos that they experience daily. So for us, it's not just about, you know, we allow ease of cooking and versatility and a really premium solution to experiencing cooking outdoors. We're really promoting as a world community to go outdoors and just have more adventure in your life, whatever that means to you. Could be on your patio, you know. Um, so our vision is to keep growing that and keep promoting that and really just helping people realize that adventure to you might be going on a boat or camping with your family, and it doesn't have to be a big stressful thing. It can actually be really enjoyable and set you free in many ways.
Yeah. So how do with the big vision that Cobb has for the future, how do you ensure that your entire team stays aligned with your mission across global markets?
Oh, let me tell you, it's not easy. So I will make it seem like it's been easy, but we did. So basically, about 4 years ago, we had a global conference and we truly live by who we are. So we flew in all the distributors. We have around 20 distributors now from all over the world. And we had a conference in the bush. You know, we went on safaris. I think you call them safaris there. We call them game drives here. But we really motivate everybody as a close-knit family for a full week. And
Mm.
at that point, we said, you know, the theme of the conference was define your future and you'll find the how. And we said to them, this is our vision. You know, Cobb, firstly, we're not just a barbecue or a grill. We want to transform a very stale industry into something that can be very iconic and aspirational. And that is to encourage people to go outdoors. That's what Cobb was built for. So the one thing that which is why I'm mentioning the conference, the one thing that I do is that I make it my priority to motivate and storytell and get everyone on board with the same vision. And if they don't believe in what we do, then there's no point in being here because it's going to be a really difficult uphill battle. You know, you've got to be passionate about what you do. The second thing is the people that we work with and who are either a distributor or a team member at head office, those people truly live the Cobb lifestyle. So
Mm.
we have, you know, one of our best performing distributors in Australia. They wake up every morning, they get on their boat, they fish for langoustines and they cook them on the cob on their boat. They genuinely live that lifestyle. And I think that is really critical because you have to understand and be part of something bigger than just yourself
Yeah,
because it's hard, you know,
yeah, and it starts from the inside, right? Like the culture matters on the inside of a
100%.
business, right? You got to be what you want to create, and it starts with you. And I love that you're starting it from within the company and in creating that mission and that vision amongst your distributors, and bringing it, full
Yeah,
circle. What
yeah,
Cobb is known for premium quality, Jennifer. So how do you communicate the
yeah.
value of a premium priced offer in a competitive market?
Oh, so Heidi, I love this question because There are many ways to do this, and I think that many entrepreneurs, including myself in the past, have fallen into the trap of becoming desperate and discounting what you want to be a premium offer, and it can get really messy. But the first thing that I would say to anyone that's starting any business, and as well as in Cobb, is you have to know who your customer is and what they're willing to pay to solve a problem. The bigger the problem and the bigger the hassle or the pain point that they're willing to pay to solve, the more you can actually charge in your price, you know. And so for us, it's about, and I'll give you a really good example. If we were sort of targeting somebody that's looking to maybe just grill some steak once every week on a Friday on their patio, and they're not really interested in cooking anything other than that, they would probably look at the likes of Weber or Kodak, which are also fantastic brands, and then obviously look at Cobb as well. Now, for that customer, their pain point or their need is not big enough to warrant spending what they would on a Cobb, okay? If we have a customer that is an avid boater or avid fisherman, he loves to go on his boat, fish, he loves to cook his fish or smoke his fish, they love smoking their fish, as he's just had a fresh catch, that value to that customer is so much more because he has no other solution on his boat. You know, the Cobb is windproof. It's got a dome lid so that it's windproof. It literally functions like a portable oven. It doesn't weigh more than 4 kilograms, so you can carry it around. It's got a frying dish, a frying pan, a fenced roast rack accessory. So for that customer, having a solution that helps them cook effortlessly and with ease when they're in a really remote location is so much more valuable than somebody that's at home, if that makes sense, and just wants to grill a steak. So it's really about finding the customer that is willing to pay to solve that problem, and how big is the pain point or the problem in that customer's lives. Because what you don't want is a customer that's kind of on the fence and it's not a big enough problem to pay a premium price. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to really find the right customer that is willing to pay a high price, and be careful. And this comes when you're working on your marketing campaigns, you got to think about who are you attracting at the same time. And it's essential, because if you attract a customer, let's say you get desperate to make a sale and you do a discount or you do a promotion and you get more desperate to increase your volume because sales are slow. What happens is you create a customer with a scarcity mindset. And that customer is really difficult to sell to and very difficult to please. In fact, what I've seen across the globe in any of the brands that I've worked with is that customer actually complains the most, because they are spending a lot for what they can afford. You know, if you stick to your brand and speak from a point of strength, a position of strength, where you're not forced to discount and you know your value and you speak your value, never your price, then you will attract a customer that sees that value in you, and it is a much easier sale to make. You know, what I find is sometimes when we discount or do promotions to increase sales, it actually deters that premium customer. They don't see value in the brand when we start to do that. So that's a big mistake that I see a lot of people do. And Cobb is not perfect there either. I have distributors who end up doing that, and it's extremely difficult to maintain price integrity on a global scale, because you have different people on a global scale, you know. But also very important is to look at really promoting the value. So I know I mentioned now, you know, always speak value, never the price. And that's critical. When you speak value, you don't have to mention price, because by the time you get to mentioning the price, the customer's already sold. When you're in the pricing game, you end up playing a commodity game, and that is a very difficult game to play. You know, if you want to offer a premium price, you have to know why you're different, and you have to genuinely add that value. If you're going to produce a product that is very similar to what's in the market at the moment, but you want to charge a premium price, That's not going to work either. You're in the commodity game. Nothing differentiates you. So you're going to end up competing on price, right?
Right.
So communication is a huge thing. A lot of businesses don't focus on showcasing their value, and that shows that they're not speaking from strength. We say, oh, it's $420, but you'll get this and this and this. That doesn't speak from strength. Strength is Cobb gives you access to a lifetime of adventure, more time with your family outside. It gives you 7, 8, 9 different cooking methods. We have multiple accessories. So we always talk the value. And then by the time we get to the price, nobody questions the price. So it's being really sure about who you're targeting, targeting the high-end customer and steering clear of the scarcity mindset. So be wary of discounting, making sure that you've got a customer that has a big enough problem that they're willing to pay that to solve that problem, because there's a threshold. And always speaking value, never price. So really speaking from strength. And that's what we do as a brand. If a customer comes and says it's too expensive, they just want to grill meat, we're okay to say that Cobb is not for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that you shared all of that, because you've been sharing that since we started talking. You've been leaning into the vision, you've been leaning into the story, you've been leaning into what it looks like with a family using a Cobb, right? So and that's where those families want, like that fisherman wants to be able to take it with them. He likes adventure. The family wants to have more time with their family. They want to enjoy outings and have that quality time and create those memories. And I love that that's what you're leaning
100.
into, storytelling versus, hey, you're going to get these accessories and this pan, and people don't care about that. They want to know what it looks like on the other side of using a Cobb, right? The benefit.
100%. And I love that, Heidi, because the one thing we do, and we had to make this shift a few years ago. It wasn't always this way, but a lot of the time companies or brands speak about physical product. And I say, you're not in the product game, you're in the marketing game. Products and businesses and brands are so much more than what they were 20 or 30 years ago. So we switched at the time, the marketing was very functional based. So the Cobb is made from high grade stainless steel. It has a frying pan accessory. It can boil, fry, bake, grill, roast. It was very functional. But humans connect with emotion. They connect with a currency that they can understand. And when you have a really premium offer, it's important to talk about a currency, or when you speak of a currency, that needs to be a currency that your customer can understand and relate to. So I don't relate to premium high-grade stainless steel. Yes, it's a beautiful material. Yes, it doesn't rust. But a customer is going to relate to, imagine how valuable it would be to have 100 more hours a year with your family in your garden. Imagine how valuable it would be to be completely off grid and have a full kitchen outside. So that is a currency that people relate to. And I think that is so much more valuable than product material.
Absolutely. So let's talk marketing a little bit, Jennifer, if that's okay. How are you
Oh,
getting, you have, it sounds like you have everything in place and you've worked on that over the years, like you shared, and you've really dialed it in, and creating this beautiful vision for your customers to step into and see what's possible on the other side of owning a Cobb. How are you getting in front of your clients or your customers? What are things that have worked for you in the marketing space? Because you hear, oh, you've got to be on social media, oh, you've got to be doing paid ads, or oh, you've got to be engaging with them all the time, or you need this type of PR. What is working for you?
so I'll tell you what isn't working and what we changed, and then what's working now. So Cobb initially was built on a brick and mortar business model. So what I mean by that is, for example, in Europe, we have very big retail chains and wholesale chains that are outdoor stores or garden stores or camping stores that would stock Cobb. Now, for many years, that worked well. right? But consumer habits have changed. And the one thing that we many years ago realized, oh gosh, we're actually behind, we need to up our game and turn things around, is that consumers shop in an ecosystem online. Consumers, the brick and mortar model on its own does not work anymore. It works in the ecosystem, and sales happen as a result of the ecosystem. So our strategy as a brand, number one, if a new distributor is just starting out and they don't have huge budgets, I always say to them, go niche. What is the one market that you're going to start with? And you infiltrate that market in their ecosystem online, so that you're not casting a wide net and hoping that you catch a fish, because it doesn't work that, you can't just do an ad and they see your ad once or twice and purchase. Consumers have the right to walk away from your webpage, and they know that. They can walk away at any time and come back whenever they want. So I always recommend to start off, as an example, the boating community. So, okay, we know the boating community is big in your territory. Where are they hanging out online? Cool. They are looking at online blogs. They're following these YouTube channels. They go talk to them. So it's really important that you become a customer in your own industry. I mean, otherwise you will never be able to sell. So we understand how they are functioning online, and we get into those communities. So Facebook communities, we start sampling product in those communities, and we don't ask for anything in return. So it's very much try us out, give us your feedback. We want to hear from you. So we speak to our customers a lot all over the world. And then we also do paid ads, email marketing. So it's critical that we build our email list so that your business isn't dependent on an algorithm on Instagram or TikTok. But we do large collaborations online as well with influencers who are avid outdoor enthusiasts. And that's critical. And it's important that I mention that, because I see a lot of ill advice online where use this tool or do this paid ad strategy and 10x your sales. The reality is, if your brand has no credibility in that ecosystem, your customer is not going to easily convert from a paid ad. They will see you from an influencer who they find really credible and they're receptive to them. Then they will see an ad. Then they might see you in store. It's this entire ecosystem. And we find that if we do that properly in a niche category, it's around 2-week lead time to get that customer to purchase. What's really working well for us as well is distinguishing between different types of influencers that we collaborate with. So Cobb as a brand does not pay influencers to do inauthentic campaigns. We are really particular about people who genuinely live that lifestyle and who love the brand and want to work with us. So it has to be really authentic. But what we're finding is, as I said, building that credibility is essential. You won't just convert from the very start. But when you have a real influence in the market or online, for example, somebody that's giving advice on homestead living or living off grid, we found really great success with that in the US, or somebody who's giving fishing tips on YouTube. And they have an audience who genuinely goes to them for advice. Like, look at Harry Potter. You can launch any product in Harry Potter. People will be lining up out the door because the audience is already receptive and they live that lifestyle. So that's quite critical. And I think a lot of the mistakes that businesses are making now is to work with lifestyle influencers who are more aspirational and entertainment based. Like Instagram, they're posting about coffee and breakfast and health tips. They're wonderful. I mean, I absolutely love influencers, but those are not influencers that have a receptive audience that genuinely buys into what you believe as a business and wants to be part of that. So that has been, I cannot emphasize enough how important that has been for us over the past few years. And it's just snowballed. People love, once they're part of the family, they don't leave. So we've built a very big online community, and that's what's made the world of difference. And then that influences your brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Naturally, it just sells from the stores.
Amazing. So you've started businesses. Some have worked, you said, have done well, and some just haven't. And I think we've all been through that, especially if we're an entrepreneur, it's not our first rodeo. Typically, we've tried to start a couple
Yeah,
things here and there over
of
the
course. Yeah.
lifespan of our journey. So what have been some
Yes.
challenges that you've had or that you've seen Cobb go through with growth, and how did you overcome them?
Sure, Heidi, I'm not going to lie. So firstly, over the various businesses, the biggest thing was your business will grow as much as you grow. And I'm sure I'm sure you agree with that, that 90% is an inside job. And if you are not confident or build your confidence, if you don't overcome those limiting beliefs, you're standing in your own way. So for me, that was the biggest hurdle, is the self-belief. Despite the success that I had, I think I look back now and I think, wow, that's quite mind-boggling, because I had a very big successful business and I still thought I'm not good enough to do this. So that was one of the biggest hurdles. When I came to Cobb, and in fact, in the various businesses, there were a few things that were really big challenges that I think are often overlooked. And some of those are very simple. It's crunching your numbers. When I came into Cobb, Cobb was already growing quite well. COVID had just hit and a lot of people were at home. Sales were skyrocketing. And that's great. When you have a lot of success, you don't become critical of the numbers in the business and where's their ill spend, where are their cracks. And I call it, you lose the broke mentality. And so you bleed a lot. And so when I came into Cobb, there were a few things that I immediately looked at. And one of them was the numbers. Guys, there's too many people in the chain for everybody to have enough margin. And it sounds like a very simple sum, but it was completely overlooked in Europe. So we started to remove the sub-distributors, and take the middlemen out to increase your margins. So something as simple as that is life-changing for a business. You need margin. It's the bloodline of your business. Otherwise, you can never scale. So that was the first thing. Then it was looking at, well, what is our product range? What is our most profitable product? Do we have too many lines? We had, at that point when I came into the business, far too many permutations. And what I mean by that is that one country might want a carry bag and a griddle plus a French roast rack added to it. One country wanted this. And when it comes to production, you've got to hit MOQs of thousands of units for each line. So we ended up in a mess because we were just trying to be everything to everyone, not looking at our production. And we ended up with a very confusing range and excess stock like you cannot believe, which holds up your cash flow, right? So again, not looking at, well, my money is sitting in stock that only one country takes or this country takes. So we had a severe excess stock problem. So that was the second thing that I tackled. I said, right, consumers have too many choices. We don't want to make their lives more difficult. So we reduced our lines from probably like 15 to 6. Four lines. I'm not talking about, the main portable cookers. So we really cut them down within 2 years. You then increase your MOQs, your pricing gets better, it reduces. So the biggest thing is you've got to know your numbers and you've got to be on top of them. And I know a lot of people avoid them, but the reality is if you don't have bigger margins or a sufficient margin, you can't sustain your business. The other thing that I looked at was the risks in the business. So at that point, we had said internally, we want to take it to the next level. And I just saw so much potential in the business. I said, guys, it's doing fantastic, but we're scraping the surface. This could be 20 times the size it is. So what do we need to get there? And that's where we started to look at, right, do we have the right people? Not for now, but for where we want to be. we had to rearrange our team, which is a huge move, Um, what is our product range like? We reduced it to core lines. Where do we need to expand? So at that point, we planned and built a solid foundation for the future. And that comes with challenges, cash flow challenges, then you've got excess stock, all of these challenges were very real in Cobb's life, but we had a vision and we stuck to it. And even though we had to clean up a little bit of mess, let's call it, and we knew it would take us a bit longer, we really managed to get there much faster than we had thought. And that was the key, The last big challenge, I would say, is people. You can be anywhere in the world, you can have the best tools in the world, but if you don't have the right people, it's going to be very difficult. And so we looked at the business at that point, and we were very top heavy in Europe, and we thought, well, if Europe catches flu, we get pneumonia. We won't be able to sustain that. It's about 80% of our business. And so again, we had planned and geared for future growth, and we said, right, we're going to rebrand. We're going to make sure we're very strong in the market online, and we're going to attract more distributors that are aligned with our vision. And that was critical. We didn't want distributors that weren't aligned with our larger vision. And so we went from 8 distributors to 20 in 2 years. And so that was one of the most challenging things. And it's not a challenge that's resolved. We have some really fantastic people. We've had distributors for 20 years. We've got new distributors who are killing it at the moment. And we have some distributors who still aren't 100% aligned. So, you have to have the right people who believe in what you do. And that was the biggest challenge, but the biggest success at the same time.
You mentioned so much there, and there's a lot of takeaways. So for you listening, I'm going to go through some nuggets that I'm pulling, and we would love to hear what you're pulling out from Jennifer. But one thing I've heard from you is, again, know your numbers, which is key, and it could be scary, right? What we focus on grows. So if you want your revenue to grow, you want your cash flow to grow, you've got to pay attention to it, and you've consistently need to pay attention to it and check in. And I think that is key, because a lot of people can want to ignore it, going, I don't know what I'm going to find, and it's going to be painful, but sometimes you got to move through the pain in order to get to the other side of it. Right? Breakthroughs went through a breakdown. We can't get to a breakthrough without a breakdown. Second thing you mentioned was knowing your which you mentioned before when we were talking, is knowing your customer, and that's doing market research. And again, I think a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses, they think they know their customer. They don't consistently check in. And I think that's key too, that you're consistently talking with your customer like you are. You're asking the questions, because have their needs changed? What's going in their life right now? Are they stressed about something that you don't realize they're stressed about? So understanding that is key, so you can pivot that story that telling that vision that you're sharing with them if you need to. And the third thing you mentioned is team. And we talked about that, the importance of culture, the importance of surrounding yourself with a really solid team. And I've heard from people, and I think I'm guessing you'll agree, but you can share with me if you do. You hire slow, you fire fast, right? You're slow to hire, fast to fire. Is things that I've heard. Quick to fire, quick to let go. Because at the end of the day, if we're not letting people go who aren't right for the company, we're actually hurting them as well. They need to find something that's going to be better suited for them, so they can be successful. So I think it can be scary that we don't want to do anything to hurt them in a certain way, but at the end of the day, we're holding them back from something that is meant to be for them by keeping them with us. So there's so many gold nuggets there that I just wanted to touch on, because I wanted to pull that out for our listeners. What are your goals? What is Cobb's goals for this year, and then over the next 12 months?
20 years. I'll give you my 20-year plan.
20 years. Oh, so I said 12 months. Did I say 20 years? 12 months. I meant 12 months.
So just before we move on there, you made such a good point on the, fire fast. And I hate the word fire, because
I do too,
I'm so passionate about people. People is the reason that I'm in business. Business is about people. So, but one of Cobb's biggest challenges was not doing that effectively enough. And when you work out what it actually costs your business in the long run, the impact is huge. So sometimes we have to have that horrible conversation that doesn't feel good, and we have to, get uncomfortable, because the reality is, in Cobb's case, it cost Cobb millions. So it is hard, but it is really important, because you, as the owner of the business, have a responsibility to protect the rest of the team, to protect the distributors' businesses. And so you have to do hard things. And I agree with you, when it's not a good fit for the other person as well, it's not fair on them. And it's torture for their soul, and I don't believe in that either. So that's a really important point. In terms of the next 6 to 12 months, we're doing a lot. So particularly in the US, we've got quite a few campaigns coming up. It's peak season for Cobb, so when it comes to summertime, our sales generally increase substantially, depending on the territory. Some territories are full year round. And we have an exciting campaign coming up with Howie Mandel, which is very cool.
Very cool.
So I love it. And I tell you why I love it is because sometimes customers can be a little bit intimidated by Cobb. So they see these crazy meals that, people are cooking, camping, or on a boat, or on their patio in their garden. And we call them cobbers. They are avid cobbers. So they cook chocolate cakes, cinnamon Swiss rolls, paella. I mean, I've cooked everything and anything as well. And sometimes new customers could be a little bit intimidated by that. But in reality, Cobb does the cooking for you. It's really easy and it's fun. And so Howie's agent approached us a few months ago and said, look, Howie really loves the product. He loves adventure, but he knows that he wishes he could be like one of those big adventurers, but he's naturally not that person. And he says he's naturally not a great cook. So we sent him a Cobb. We said, look, tell us what you think. Do you enjoy it? Can you cook on it? And he absolutely loved it. So we're doing a TV campaign with him. And I love that, because he will show everybody how easy it actually is. If how we can do it, everyone can do it. It's fantastic. So that's happening in the US, and a lot of big collaborations as well with off-grid influencers and homesteaders and boaters. We've got a lot coming up, which is very cool. And on a global level, we have a lot happening in the background. So we've grown quite fast with distributors, we have to keep up with that pace, but we're also developing a lot of new product. For us, we, like you say, listen to our customers, and we have one-on-one calls, and we tell them to give it to us straight. And they say, I want this, you're missing this, or you need to enhance this. So we are developing a lot of lifestyle products for outdoors, just to make your experience even better, that are very, very well designed with the customer's needs in mind. So we literally take their feedback and we go back to them. We say, what do you think about this? Would this work? And so really exciting products that are going to launch in the next few months as well. And then long term, Heidi, it is about going greener. So we are very passionate about having as little waste as possible and harming the planet as little as possible. So at the moment, we have a product called the Cobblestone, which is a rapid ignition charcoal. It's the only patent in the world, and it takes 3 minutes to light, and you can cook for like 3 hours. But the reason I'm telling you about it is it's made out of coconut husks, the byproduct of coconut. So, every time someone uses a cobblestone, they save 2 small trees. So we really are looking at product which is much harder to do and much more costly, that is going to protect our planet versus trying to make a quick buck on something that's going to be cheap. We're also looking at exchanging the plastic in our packaging, and we have a lot of initiatives like conservation. We had a conservation event the other day for bateleurs, it's all for conservation in South Africa. So we're very involved in protecting the planet that we're encouraging people to enjoy. And it won't happen overnight, but it is something that we have to, I believe every company has a responsibility to do.
Yeah, it's so good. Thank you for sharing all of that. So for our listeners, Jennifer, how can they connect? How can they learn more about the Cobb? I mean, you shared everything with us, and I love that you're working with Howie Mandel. I love him. He's funny, he's fun. So I think it's going to be amazing
Yeah,
to
we're
see
so
him promoting
excited.
it and
Yeah.
sharing how the ease of the Cobb and all of that. So I'm excited. I can't wait for that to see all
Yeah.
that happening and unfolding. But how can our listeners reach out to you, connect with you? Where do they find a Cobb if they want to go get one? If they're feeling hungry and they're already like, I want to go grab one.
If you want some adventure and want it just easy cooking where you can do anything, so you can go to the cobbgrillamerica.com website. It's cobbgrillamerica.com. Or you can look at Cobb Grill. That's the American Instagram page, but we'll obviously put the link in the footnotes. If you want to contact me directly, I am happy for questions to come directly to me. It's important that I hear what people have to say or if they have questions. And in that case, anyone can email me on jenniferm@cobbglobal.com, or you can follow me. I do have an Instagram platform where I also, like you, Heidi, I love to share tips and tricks and the real truth about what it takes to build a business. It's what I'm really passionate about. And I'm sharing that over the next few years. And I'm going to be very open and honest because I want to set people up to succeed. So if anyone wants to have a look at that, it's called Mind Bean Vibes is the Instagram, or Mind Bean is the podcast. So feel free to have a look. Otherwise, contact me. I'm happy to help and give advice for anyone who needs.
Amazing. So we're going to have, as Jennifer said, we have
Yeah.
all of the links to access her, the podcast, social media. cobbgrillamerica.com is the website. And go check it out. Go connect with Jennifer. She's amazing. And she's very open about sharing tips and tricks. And I think, we're better together.
Yeah.
So we need to raise each other up, help as many entrepreneurs as we can, because I believe everybody should be successful with their passion and
I
whatever
agree. Yeah.
impact they want to ripple effect they want to make in the world. So if you're watching Jennifer and I on YouTube right now, then please hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when we have a more amazing guest like Jennifer come on here. If you know somebody that loves adventure, they love to cook, they want ease of cooking while they're having adventure and more time with their family, then go share this episode with them. Go share the Cobb Grill with them and let them listen to Jennifer and everything that they can learn about it. As well, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or anywhere else, iHeartRadio, and you can leave a review, please do, preferably 5 stars. This helps us share Jennifer and our other experts with more people. Again, the goal is to support as many business owners, CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs as possible in the growth of their business. I promised you a gift. So if whether you've been listening to us and you haven't grabbed it yet, or you're new to the podcast, you can go grab our Spotlight to Scale blueprint. So if you're struggling, if your challenge, one of your challenges is visibility right now, you're having struggling with getting in front of your ideal customer or client, you're doing the things and it doesn't seem to be taking off for you, then go grab our blueprint. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint and grab it for free. Again, reach out to Jennifer, go to cobbgrillamerica.com. Jennifer, is there anything, last words that you'd like to share, or anything that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't touch on today before we wrap?
Heidi, the only thing I would love to leave a note on, firstly, is to say thank you so much for having me on here. And I'm sure that we'll speak again. And I really enjoyed it because I'm so passionate about sharing, stuff like this. As you can tell, I could probably talk all day. So, if there is a topic that your listeners want to dive into a bit deeper to get a lot more value out of a very specific topic, whether it's pricing or marketing or whatever, let me know and I'm happy to do that. But I really just do want to encourage everyone not to give up because, often people give up and they think they've failed, but there's no such thing as failure. There's only learning. And I can tell you that if I hadn't gone through my multiple attempts at different businesses and working with different companies and mentors, I never would have the ability to do what I do now. And it just gets more and more exciting. So don't give up, keep going, learn as much as you can, and there is no such thing as failure, only persistence and learning.
I love that. Perfectly said. You heard it from Jennifer. Keep going. There's no failure, just learning. And again, where you can't, you need to get wherever you want to go, there's going to be bumps around along the road. It's not going to be a smooth
Yep.
journey as we all wish it would be. So I'm so excited, happy that you shared that with everybody. Again, reach out to Jennifer. Go grab a Cobb Grill. You heard it here. And thank you for listening to us on the Business Growth Spotlight podcast. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here. It's been incredible, and hope to bring you back again soon and see the new updates on everything you all are working on with the new
Yeah.
products. And we will see you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlight podcast. See you soon.